In this video, we're going to do an exercise to demonstrate menu-driven programming. We're going to write a little program that will have a main menu with 4 options, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then for each one of these, we're going to call a method. And we're going to prompt the user to enter some data, and we're going to do some math and display a message. So the point of this is to work on menu-driven options. So we'll focus on that, but we will be doing the implementation of the actual area calculations as well. All right, so let's go ahead and JDoodle. We start our application. Let's go ahead and delete all the boilerplate. I'm going to need a scanner, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so in our main menu, the first thing we're going to do is the loop. So we're going to want a loop. We're going to want to do a while keep going loop. And we're going to display these 4 options, and we're going to ask the user to enter an option. Then we're going to have a switch statement that comes after that. So let's go ahead and enter that. Let me just copy this so we can see, so we can remember what the options are. I'll just put them down here for now, because I'm going to delete them in a minute. So let's start with, I need to define my scanner. Okay, and then I need to do a while loop. So I'm going to do a keep going. I'm using the implicit definition here. Instead of saying Boolean keep going, I'm just going to use var. And then the compiler will infer that keep going is a Boolean variable because the right-hand side of my assignment statement is a Boolean value of true. So here's my loop. I'm going to make sure my blocks are set right. I'm going to go ahead and do the output. So this is me actually printing the menu to the console. Let's see, please select, let's do 1 area of circle. 2, find there 2, we have area rectangle. 3, we have area of triangle. And then we'll have a quit option. I'm really spelling challenged on this example. So 4 will be the quit. Okay. So then let's go ahead and now we'll prompt the user to make an option, to enter an option. And then we'll ask for input. Now our input is 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like an integer, but it really doesn't have to be. We don't really want to do input validation here because it's just a lot of extra work. I can just use the string values 1, 2, 3, 4. And so rather than doing an input validation and actually checking for an integer here, I'm just going to use a string. And if you enter anything other than 1, 2, 3, or 4, I'll just print a message that says that's not a valid option. So I'm going to take a string value. I'm going to say response. You might call this choice. I'm going to say it's the scanner. Okay. So now I have an option. So response is going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4. I don't need to worry about case, equals ignore case or anything like that here because or two upper, 2 lower because I'm using numerals here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so the case doesn't really apply. So then we do a switch statement. And we're going to say switch on response. And then we'll have case, we'll have 1. And then there'll be some data in there. We'll have, and I can just copy these. We're going to get a 2 and a 3. I'm just going to go ahead and put those in. Then there'll be a default, which if the user entered something that wasn't valid, then we'll go ahead and do a message on that. That is not a valid option. Okay, and then we'll break. And then that's the end of my switch. And then here in case 4, I'm going to go ahead and say keep going equals false, because that if I enter at 4, then that's how I want to end the program. Okay, so now I've written a bunch of code, so I'm going to execute it and run it to make sure that what I've written is working correctly. So I didn't make any syntax mistakes. I got my menu here, so I can enter a 1. It should just come back to the menu. 1 is a valid option. I just haven't implemented what it's doing yet. If I enter something other than 1, 2, 3, 4, then I should get a message that says that's not a valid option right there. If I enter a 4, then the program should end. Okay. So I do notice here that there's a lot of, there's not any space here. There's no blank lines in between this. So I think what I want to do is at the beginning of every menu, I want to put a blank line before the menu. So I'm just going to put a new line right there at the beginning and of option 1. That way, every time the menu displays, there'll be a little bit of a blank line, a little bit of space in between. So it'll kind of set it apart a little bit, so it's easier for the user to read. Let's see how that looks. Oops. Put my slash the wrong way. So now if I say, invalid option, then I get a little bit of I get a message and then a blank line. So it kind of makes the menu stand out a little bit more. When using console menus, it's really important to make sure that you are giving the user enough space on the screen to be able to see what their options are. You don't want all your output to clutter up the console and make the user possibly make mistakes. And then, of course, if you're using a GUI or an app or some type of graphic interface, of course, design there is really important. You want to make sure that it's obvious to the user what you want them to do. Okay, let's go ahead and do option 1. So option 1 is an area of a circle. So we'll just put an option here and we'll just call a method. We're going to say area, let's just call it circle. Okay, we're just going to call circle, no options, no arguments here. And then we're going to want to create a new class or new method rather. So I'm going to put that still inside my class, but after the main method. And so this one is going to be called circle. It's going to be public static. It's a void because it doesn't have a return type. It's called circle and it takes no parameters. Okay. Get my blocks set up the way I want them. And then in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to want to prompt for the radius, because here's the area, the circle formula, pi times the radius squared. So we're going to take, so we want to get a radius. So I'm going to need a get double method because I'm going to just get a double for the length and the width and the base and the height and the radius. So I'm just going to assume those are all double values. So I'm just going to do, I'm going to write a get double method. So let's go ahead and write that, and then we'll come back and use it in the circle method. This will be public static double get double, and we've written this before, so this should be very familiar. So it's going to take scanner as a parameter, and then it's going to take a string as the prompt. Okay. And in this case, we do want them to be positive. So let's just say, let's just call this get positive double. I could use the one get double in range and just do a 1 and a max double or something like that, but we'll just do a get positive double option here. Okay. So now I have an input validation loop. So this is pretty standard while true. We've done this before in other examples. I output my prompt. Okay, and then I'm going to have the let's see, that should be uppercase, and then so the user will see the message, and then I want to collect the input. So now I'm going to take a string input. Scanner.nextLine. And then we'll do a try catch block. So now we'll do a try, get my blocks straight there. And we will then attempt to cast, to do a parse double on this. So we'll say double value equals double dot parse double input. If that works, then I want to apply my second level of input validation. Let's say if it doesn't work first. If it doesn't work, then I need a catch block here. Number format exception. We'll call it E, and then we have a block. And then the message here will be, that is not a valid numeric value. Okay, let's spell that correctly. So now if the parse double fails, then I'll get this message that says this is not a valid numeric value. If the parse double does pass, then what I want to do is I want to make sure it's positive. So now I can say if value is greater than or equal to 1. So you could do greater than 0. Here I'm going to do greater than or equal to 1. Actually, let's do greater than 0 because you could have this a double, so you could have 0.5 as the value. So let's say if the value is greater than 0, then we return it because it's valid. Return value. Okay. If it's not greater than 0, then we want to put out a message that says that it must be positive. You must enter a positive value. Okay, put a semicolon on that line. Okay, so this should work. So now when we call this, we want to go ahead and from circle, we want to just say double radius equals get positive double. And we'll pass the scanner, and then the prompt will be enter the radius. And we'll just tell them it's a double like this. Okay, let's go ahead and run that and see if it works. I have made a syntax error here, and so, but I'm going to leave it because I want to demonstrate some debugging. So my first error is that I missed a semicolon on line 39. So right here, when I did the next line, I need to have a semicolon there. Let's run it again. I've got an error here that says circle that we cannot find. The symbol so this is at line 16. Cannot find circle. It's because I misspelled it. So yeah, I spelled it on line 16, circle, C-I-R-C-L-E. But here on line 32, I misspelled it C-I-R-L-C-E. So it's saying that circle is not defined. So let's go ahead and spell that correctly. Let's run it again. Should be one more error. So now I'm getting an error that says on line 33, which is this line right here, that we cannot find the variable SC. So we declared SC. SC is the scanner. So we declared SC up here in the main, but I'm using it here in circle. But because I declared it in main, it is only scoped to the main method. So I need to pass that as a parameter to circle. And so and then define it here as on the definition of circle. So now let's run that. Okay, so now this is working. So now if I hit option 1, I should get a prompt to enter the radius. I should put a new line here at the beginning of the method, or at the beginning of the message of enter the radius, so that it's split out from the prompt a little bit. If I enter invalid numeric data, I'm using the get positive int method or get positive double here, so that should be protecting me from invalid data. If I enter a negative value, then that works. If I enter a positive value, then that should work, and we should come back to the main menu. So let's go ahead and put a new line here on the message, on the prompt, and then let's just do the math. So now we have, we can say double area equals, it's going to be pi r squared, so we can say math dot pi times math dot pow radius to 2. Okay, so now that's the area of our circle. Now we just have to print out a message that says that. We'll use a printf to do this because we want to format the area to 2 decimal positions. We'll say, so we'll say the area of the circle is, and then we'll do our format code. I want commas, I want 1,000 separators, I want 2 decimal positions, and it'll be a floating point value. And then let's go ahead and put a new line at the end of that. Okay. And then our replacement value will be area. Let's run that and see if it works. Made an error, so it's that system dot says line 35 cannot find symbol printf. It's because it needs to be system dot out dot printf. So I can fix that on line 35 and then keep going. All right, so now area of a circle. I got a blank line there, enter the radius 13.5, 572.56. We could check that just to make sure that that we did the math right. 13.5. I'm just checking on a calculator. 572.26, right? Yeah, so that's about right. I didn't use the right enough digits on pi to get to this level of precision. So anyway, so this looks good. So that's correct. The area of a circle is done. We're back in our menu, and then we can go ahead and enter option 4 to quit. Okay, let's go ahead and do the other 2 real quick, and then this example will be over. So the next thing we're going to do a rectangle. So option 2 is a rectangle, and we're going to send the scanner. Let's see, rectangle would be here because I like my methods to be in alphabetical order. It's a void method because it doesn't return any value. And it takes 1 parameter as a scanner. Okay. Now we do the same thing here. So for rectangle, I need side 1 and side 2. So double side 1 equals get positive double. And we'll send the scanner. And then the prompt will be a new line, say enter length of side 1. And we'll just copy that and paste it just so that save myself some typing. And then after side 1, so now that's done. So we have the values that we just need to do the calculation. Double area equals side 1. Actually, let's do it inline in the printf. So we can say system, I don't actually need to define a separate variable to do that, like I did in the circle. Printf, so we'll do the area of the rectangle is, and then we'll do our format code %1000 separator, 2 decimal points floating. And then we'll do a new line there. And then now we'll do our replacement value. In this case, I can just say the replacement value is side 1 times side 2. I don't actually have to do that as a separate variable. I can just put it right in the printf. Okay, let's run that and make sure it works. Now, when I'm running this on subsequent times, whoops, let's see. Little JDoodle blip there. Okay, there we go. So now when I'm running this subsequent times, I don't need to test the invalid entries on rectangle because I'm using get positive double, I know that works because I've already tested it when I was testing the circle method. So I don't need to test with invalid data at this point because I know that works because I've already tested that. So makes writing the subsequent methods much faster. So area of a rectangle, 13 and 18 for side 2. Areas 2 and 34. Okay, that seems about right. We can check our math. Yep. So, and then, okay, so let's quit. Let's do the last one and then we're done. So the last one is triangle here on option 3. Scanner. We'll put that in, that goes here. This is the same. We've already written this method twice. We just used a different output. I'm just going to cut and paste all three of these lines because they're basically going to be the same. So here we're going to say this is going to be base, and then enter the length of the base. Cutting and pasting is fine, but you just got to make sure that you make all the modifications. So if you forget to rename a variable or something like that after the cut and paste, then you cause an error in your program. But if you're careful doing it, then you can then it can save you a lot of time. So the result here is base times height times 0.5. Okay. We can go ahead and delete this because we don't need it anymore. Let's run that and see if it works. I've made an error in a misspelled height. So this says line 66, cannot find symbol, variable height, HEGHT. It's because I left the I out right here. So HEIGHT on line 66. Now when I run it, area of a triangle, we'll see the base will be, let's say the base is 35 and the height is 76. Okay, that seems right. So 35 times 76 divided by 2. Let's do another one on that just to make sure. So because we got an even, so I want to do another one because I got an even number here with no decimal precision, and so it's probably right. But anytime you see something that doesn't show all the attributes of your program, you're going to want to double check that. So okay, so if we have, so let's try it with let's do the area of a rectangle again, and let's just try it by increasing the height to 77 instead of 76. So enter the base 35, enter the height at 77. And the area is 1347.5. So that's good. So now we're getting all the decimal precision that we want. All right, and then we can quit our program, and that's it. So that is the complete example for a menu-driven application with four options. 3 of them are math solvers, and then quit to exit the program.